did we meet? Like 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Dude, it was a UCF event. It was before COVID.
It was before
So
COVID.
I think I was like 5, 6 years ago. Holy crap.
Well, we were starting to get the College of Business thing going.
Yeah.
I remember you came in, you said that you were just starting your business then.
Yeah, so I got into the mortgage business technically the end of 2017. So it was
right around that time.
I was pretty fresh. Yeah.
Good time to be in the mortgage business.
Yeah.
And I've watched you build your portfolio, your personal portfolio, and it's incredible because obviously you have to be doing well in business to do what you've done over the past 5, 6, 7 years, right?
Yeah.
So I remember the first time that you posted online talking about a property, or maybe it was your second property at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're up to 9 holdings.
Correct. Yeah.
And you've been bullish through the market, no matter what's going on, saying that you believe in real estate. Obviously, you're backing that with your main line of business, but you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible because people are coming to you, and it's a salesmanship to try to get them to buy a home and sell them, a mortgage and do the loan on it, but you're doing it yourself.
Yeah. I would tell you that there are so many people in my field that, and nothing wrong with this, but that they are renting. They don't own their own home or they don't own investment property. So when they're working with investment clients, it's a little bit easier to be able to say, hey, I'm doing this too.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling you this is the strategy or this is the route you want to take, I'm telling you because I'm living it as well.
Yeah.
And it kind of became a little bit of an addiction to get into real estate. You get your first one, man, and then the second one, then the snowball effect takes place after that.
What is it? Is it the cash flow? Is it the I can do it mentality? I mean, what makes you go from having 1 to 9? So the first one you bought was like, okay, I want to get into the investment game. I'm going to buy a piece of real estate. Was that your primary residence?
It was. So very first one was a condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, where I was going to be living there as my primary.
Yeah.
Ended up having a buddy of mine as a roommate, and we split the mortgage. So immediately, a lot of people call that house hacking.
Yeah.
Where you are having.
I haven't heard that term. I like that.
Yeah. So you have your mortgage being potentially 50% off, right, or more. So my thought process as well when I bought it was, this is not going to be my forever place, right? Mm-hmm. So eventually I'm going to go elsewhere. So I was already strategically thinking, where am I going to buy this? I ended up buying right next to where the UCF downtown campus was being built.
Awesome.
There was all this hoopla about there was going to be a UCF downtown campus, but it wasn't built yet. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to buy there before it happens. And this
is pre-Creative Village?
Yeah, pre-Creative Village. So this was mid 2017, summer of 2017. Wow. So they have broken ground, but there was no building, there was no foot traffic, nothing like that yet.
Got some appreciation on that property.
We got a little bit, got a little bit, yeah.
So how long did you live in the first property?
So I was there for about a year, and then after that, moved on to my second property, which was a house, 4-bed, 3-bath, strategically placed, bought over by East Valencia. Okay. Same thought process, going to be there for a little bit, and then eventually rented out to college students, whether they're paying it for it or their parents. But then now that condo I moved out of, full-time rental, right? That eventually became a full-time rental. And then the house, I was there for a bit. And then, funny enough, ended up moving to a smaller place, went to a 1-bedroom condo.
That you also bought.
That I also bought.
This is number 3.
This is number 3.
Okay.
A lot of people are thinking, well, damn, Brian, you need 20% cash each time. No, you don't.
Yeah.
First time you buy a home, you only need 3% down. And then if you're buying another primary, you only need 5%. So you don't need a whole lot of cash.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I actually had no idea about that. I thought each time, after your first, so my second, I think I did conventional 10% down, but everything else that I looked at after that, I assumed it was 20% down.
Yeah, no, so that's a myth that we try to bust, is that you don't need to have that 20. So if you're buying just a straight up investment property, that's the route you got to go. But at that point, I moved to a condo, now 2 investment properties under my belt, where both of them, again, I got in with 3% on one of them, 5% down on the other one, and just held them, let the appreciation grow, let the equity do its thing, but also the cash flow too.
Yeah.
So try to get a little bit of both.
So now you're at 3 properties. At this point, you're probably looking and saying, wow, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to turn this not into a hobby, but a way that I'm going to build generational wealth for myself and my family. So I'm guessing 4 was kind of like, all right, this is a thing now? Is that?
Yeah, number 4 was straight up investment property. Yeah. Yes, I was doing well, but despite 20%, I didn't have a boatload of cash to be able to put into a place. So I went with something small, affordable, a little 2-2 condo. I think I paid $115,000 was the sales price. I mean, it was not anything.
That'll buy you like a half of a garage right now.
Yeah. This was 2020.
Okay.
Right before everything just blew up price wise. So jumped in on that and was able to snag something at a great price, 20% down. But that I strategically went for the cash flow. There was actually tenants already in place.
Oh, wow.
So I knew what the tenants were paying for rent. So I said, okay, if the tenants are paying X, I know I can get my monthly payment to Y. I know I'm making $300 as soon as they accept my offer. Mm-hmm. Why would I not?
Yeah.
Right? So that was the move. Went in, bought that place, $300 a month. Easily there. Again, the lease was already there.
They were long-term, obviously.
They were long-term, 12-month. I think they probably had about 6 or 7 months left. And they had been there already for 3+ years. And they didn't want to go anywhere. 6-7 months later, bumped their rent up $100. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to go anywhere. Now I'm $400 a month, and now it's 2021. Yeah, and I'm getting a crap ton of equity. Yes. So yeah,
that was great timing.
Once I hit that, man, the mind shifted from holy crap, I can't believe I'm doing this to okay, I've got to scratch this itch. Where's my next one?
Yeah,
like let's keep this going.
So do you get into what is the trigger that makes you say, okay, I'm ready to have another investment? Do you have like a threshold of cash that you want to have and then anything above and beyond that? Or what is it that I'm like, okay, I need to go do another investment?
Yeah, so a lot of people have different thought processes and strategies for this. For me, it is a number and it's 30,000. Mm-hmm. If I've got a piggy bank, right? I've got one of those high yield savings accounts. Yep. Once that piggy bank hits $30,000, I'm shopping.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, 30,000, what the hell does that get you? That's 20% on a $150,000 condo.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you've got to deal with closing costs, but still, that's kind of the number that I
got a guy that can do that a little bit cheaper than everybody else.
Yeah, I know somebody. Yeah, so that's the number. Once I'm at 30,000, I'm looking around. Condos have kind of been my sweet spot, despite what HOAs more recently.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what about the condo fees and HOA fees? Does that? I mean, I know when you're calculating if it's a good investment or not. Yeah. That's obviously calculated into it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you have a methodology or a spreadsheet that you use or something.
Yeah, you try to leave a little bit of a buffer for special assessments, things of that nature. But there are some things you can't predict. Mm-hmm. I mean, the condo I moved into, property number 3, I eventually turned that into a rental. But over the last, I think it was 6 months ago, we got hit with a special assessment where it doesn't actually make financial sense. There's no cash flow there. Right? A little bit of equity, but there's no cash flow. So now I've kind of been back and forth of, do I keep renting it out and just break even and hope for more equity? Or do I try to sell it, take that and move elsewhere? So condos are a little bit tricky with the HOA.
Have you just decided on that yet, or you're still in the process of doing it right now?
Right now, it's actually up for rent and up for sale.
No shit.
For both. So we'll see.
Whatever happens.
Whatever happens, I'll take it. And if it's for sale, move that capital elsewhere. If someone comes in for a 12-month lease, I break even, and we'll see what happens next year.
I love it.
Kind of run with it.
So tell me the most recent one, the number 9, right?
Yeah. So.
And when was it? Where is it? Tell me the details.
So number 9 was July of last year, 2023. Originally from South Florida, still have friends and a little bit of family down there, and I wanted something back home. Orlando has become home these last 14 years, but Miami, Fort Lauderdale, that's where I was born and raised, and I wanted something there.
So your other 8 are in Orlando proper?
Are all Central Florida. One is in Kissimmee.
Okay.
I guess that kind of counts.
Same thing.
So 7 Orlando, 1 Kissimmee, and then now I ventured out. So it was in Miami, July 2023. It was it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo that's an Airbnb.
Awesome.
So I get to use it whenever I want to go down. Yep. Outside of that, I have it rented out via Airbnb.
Profitable.
It does very well.
Yeah.
It does very well, yes.
It's funny, too, because you have all these restrictions now with Airbnb. I have an Airbnb up in North Georgia. Was absolutely crushing it when I bought it. Now that market has become a little saturated where the demand isn't as high and everybody had the same idea as myself. My whole mentality for that was I wanted 3 properties, 3 years, and 3 places that my family likes to go. I go to North Georgia with my family in Blue Ridge once a quarter. Yeah. So, it gets expensive when you don't have a place to call home. So, my whole idea was break even. Don't care if I make a penny. I'm placing my money in appreciating markets and real estate. Airbnb it. Hopefully it does well.
Yeah.
A couple of years it did. A couple of years it was a little bit above a break even, but it's just the same mentality of like putting your money into things that are going to grow.
Yeah.
I love the idea of I can use this. So your primary focus was an investment down there, but the fact that you can use it and have used it.
Yeah.
What's better than that?
Yeah, because every single time prior to that, I was either crashing at a friend's house or I was having to pay for an Airbnb. Yeah. And, Miami, Fort Lauderdale is not cheap to stay down there. So you're staying there for a weekend. That still is just to stay alone is $500 to $700.
Yep.
I figure, what the hell am I doing this for? So that everything was just kind of pushing me of, okay, this all makes sense. So it is an investment first, and then second-handedly, I can use it whenever I want to go down, which once a quarter is probably what I should be doing, but I'm down there once a month right now.
Yeah,
so
I totally get that.
Taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's number 9. Let's talk about number 10.
Oh, man. Yeah, number 10.
So we're talking about, we met, mutual respect, supporting each other from the UCF community, business owners in the area. Reached out to you to come to an event to talk to you a little bit about Coastal.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe before I talk about Coastal, what was your perspective on number 10? What were you looking for number 10?
Number 10, before really knowing, was something that was different to diversify.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I've got my long-term rentals, I've got my short-term rentals. Yes, I've got my stock portfolio, but what else can I do? What is something different? So before you even reached out to me, man, I was reading so many different articles about alternative investments and so many companies, and you get hit with the Instagram ads as well, all over the place. And I just never found one that I was really comfortable with. So for number 10, I knew I want to keep diversifying. I want to try something different. So that was really the thought process before. And,
it's funny because when you hear the word diversifying, people are like, oh, diversified stock portfolio.
Yeah.
But it's really inside your stock portfolio should be diversified, but your portfolio of investment should be diversified.
As a whole, yeah.
But now we look at yours and you have this real estate portfolio. Inside your real estate portfolio, you have the short term, the long term, the Airbnb. Yeah. Some are cash, some are hold. So getting into alts obviously is just continuing that diversification.
That path, yeah.
I remember you telling me that you had looked into alts prior to us talking. What is it about alts that you like? Is it?
Yeah, it's just different, man. It's a different space, and I'm a nerd, dude. I really like reading, and whether it be reading a book or reading online, I listen to probably way too many damn podcasts, and I'm always trying to gain more education. And I really do enjoy investing. Like there's I love the fact that you have your money working for you, and alternative investments just seemed as there was this path, this avenue I had not explored yet. So when there was another route of your money's going to work for you, this is what you're getting into. You haven't done this yet, Brian. Try it out. Yeah. Everything pointed to, okay, why not? Like let's.
Sounds like it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
I love that. Really I love that number 10 had to do with Coastal. Yeah. And then we kept it in the UCF family. And obviously, my whole process was the same thing. I am an investor in alternative investments via Coastal. Prior to joining Coastal on their team, I was an investor. And my whole message was to my network of people that I know that were, investing like yourself was, do you know about alts? And most people say no. You obviously knew about alts, but then it's, do you have access to alts?
Yeah.
And at the scale that we're doing it at, we're providing returns that are structured to outperform public markets. And they're in asset classes like build for rent, self-storage, multifamily, assisted living facilities. So your 10th investment was an alternative investment in self-storage.
Correct.
What drew you to self-storage?
The self-storage was just something that, hell, I drive by them every single day.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that use them. And I'm thinking, dude, why? This is an investment opportunity. Yeah. So self-storage was something that really kind of stuck out as I know a lot of people are using it. It's not going anywhere. I forget the statistics on how much self-storage there is in the country and still being built. It's something.
It's astronomical. I should know those stats, but COVID gave it a big spike, but even prior to COVID, it performed really well. It's boring, but it's a solid investment. People were moving all of their stuff, downsizing their homes, using self-storage as a place that they're going frequently. Yeah, I have a 5,000 square foot house, and I still need every inch of my 10 foot by 10 foot storage unit. And I didn't know that until I got one last Christmas. Yeah, and I started putting all my shit in it, and I go, wow, this is great. I actually have more room now. But, there's so many different uses for it. I love that that's where you ended up landing. But, just getting into the alt space, I think, I would guess that when you're up to 20 investments, that alternatives will have more of a
there will be more. There'll definitely be more. I mean, I'm not stopping at 10.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, there was an addiction. You got to keep scratching the itch, and the alts have helped, but it's not going to stop. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, and kind of like what you said of the other ones you guys offer. And I love the fact that you guys said this in that meeting of that it's you guys get in from the get-go, right? Yes. From the ground up. This is not a retail operation. So what was it? Was it like wholesale? Or what was the terminology there?
The biggest difference is that we call ourselves the manufacturer of it because we are we are aligned directly with the sponsors who are vertically integrated, meaning every sponsor that we work with builds, first they entitle the land. Mm-hmm. They acquire the land and entitle it themselves. They build it themselves. They own the construction company that's building the dirt on the dirt. They do their own leasing. They do their own marketing, and then they do their own disposition. So it's fully self-performing. So if you look at it from that, food chain, you can go buy REITs that own self-storage facilities or multifamily in your stock portfolio that you have. You can buy a B REIT from whoever it may be. So we build the thing, we sell the thing to a Blackstone, and Blackstone sells it to Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs gives it as an offering to your financial advisor. And there's your
ETF or your REIT.
Exactly. Yeah. All those times that it gets stepped on, your margin's going smaller. So what Coastal does is provides access to successful people, the ability to do that with these institutional grade developers.
Yeah.
And I think that's what got my attention, because I didn't even know what alts were before I started participating.
Yeah.
And, I have a friend that got into the space and built a private equity, more of a family office around himself, and said, why aren't all my friends doing this? Yeah. Oh, they don't have access to it. So, I think that they're safe, they're not sexy, and I think the appreciation and the returns that we're going to see on these are going to outperform somebody else that owns a plethora of them that's a little bit safer maybe.
Yeah.
They say it's safer, but is it really?
Yeah, when you kind of dive into it, you're not sure. And I'll tell you what also struck a chord with me, like you said, like you guys are the manufacturer. Being in the mortgage business, I'm on the wholesale side.
Yeah.
So when people are going to those big banks, credit unions, any lender that you see their advertising, you're driving down, that's retail, and it's the same thing.
You see the margins.
Yeah. You the consumer is not getting anywhere near the best deal when you're trying to buy or refinance. So on the wholesale side, we can provide that. So when you guys are talking about, hey, we are maybe not wholesale, but the manufacturer, that was the exact same case of like there's a larger margin and we're giving it to the consumer or the investor to take advantage of it. So I felt that.
The access is that gap, right? It's okay, you can go do the thing over here in your stock portfolio, and everybody knows about that. That's why they know that self-storage is a good investment, because they're there. Multifamily units, REITs, a real estate investment trust. I own several of those in my stock portfolio because I believe in real estate.
Yeah.
So it's just getting rid of that gap of margin and doing it at a different level.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm excited to see, obviously where your portfolio goes, where Coastal goes, but it's pretty badass, to see like that UCF circle connecting people.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, incredible. 10 properties. How old are you?
32.
32?
Yeah.
I'm 37. I own 4. I'm proud of 4, but 9 is a big freaking feat, dude. That's incredible.
Thank you, man.
And now 10.
Yeah.
And we have to keep earning a living in order to keep investing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the hope is that we get compounding interest and appreciation from everything that we're doing, that we get that effect to where you create that wealth. But I think most people just have trouble starting or understanding, how to do this.
Yeah.
You took that risk and quadrupled down.
Yeah. And keep going.
But
I will say too, especially with this one being number 10, you guys did a phenomenal job of educating. Yeah, that's another piece where I connected, because for my clients, whether it be their first or their 10th property, and I'm helping, or my team and I are helping them do the mortgage, we educate them every step of the way. And you guys did that. So, okay, you give people access to this, certain people access to it, but then you're teaching them, you're educating them, you're saying this is everything that you should be looking into. And it was that, for me, put me over the top and said, why the hell am I, tell me where to sign. Yeah. Let's go.
I love that. I love hearing that. And my thought to reach out was the approach that you were taking. When you're posting online to tell people about what you're doing, you're not pounding your chest saying, look at me. You're saying you can do this too. Yeah. You have an opportunity to do these things too. I'm building a little mini empire here of my properties and my investments, and there's nothing incredibly special about what I'm doing. I have the means to do it, which some people don't.
Yeah.
But then the people that have the means don't have the know-how or the knowledge, and the education helps. So I think that message that you're putting out there to your community is, you could do this too.
Yeah.
And you should.
Yeah, 100%.
I look up to that. I think that's incredible. And, I have sales in my blood, but I sell through education.
Yeah.
My message when I reached out to you was not, you have to do this. You're missing out. It was, I do this. I know you do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about maybe doing some of this together?
Yeah.
And that's really what we do with Coastal. It's just telling people about that. But you knew about alts. You played in the real estate space, so it was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, no, look, again, it was the education piece that pushed me over the top, and very similar to you, sales guy, whether I want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is that you can't really force anybody to do anything other than just say, hey, this is an opportunity, and I can share the knowledge and wealth of knowledge that I have to help you understand it, for you to make that educational decision.
Yeah.
And that's what Coastal did for me. And that's why I was like, yeah, this is the place for number 10. So I appreciate you guys.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
It was badass.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a lot more of these to do.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get some more of the podcast style going and talk more shop. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate, you trusting in us. And, I think we're going to build some awesome stuff together in this community.
Yeah. It's going to be great, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So sweet. Thank you again.
Cool. Thank you.